Okay, I'm here with Carl. Carl, can you tell us a bit about your role as the Chief Volunteer?
It's good to be with you. So I'm the Chief Volunteer for the UK, so I'm from Lancashire. I've been in this role for 2 years. It's really a leadership role, just like every other volunteer in Scouts, and but we've got 145,000 of us across the UK, so my time is to set the conditions in which we operate, make sure we do things well, make sure we enjoy what we do.
Yeah, that's brilliant. What do you think the biggest challenge is facing Scouting today?
I think there's probably a couple, really. I mean, there's one for many of us as leaders, just with some of the recent times we've gone through to make sure Scouting is safe. Yeah. And we've got to make sure that not only are we safe, we are seen to be safe by the families who give us their loved ones to look after, but also that we can evidence we're safe. Besides that, look, I think Scouts is brilliant, and I think that we want more young people to benefit from being a Scout. And look, a lot of across the UK, there's lots of communities that don't see they've got a chance to be Scouts, and we'd like more young people to think Scouts is an organisation for them.
Yeah. How can you ensure that what you are enacting at the way to Scouting trickles down to us at group level?
So I think look, there's always some challenges here, isn't there? I mean, we've got 7,000 Scout groups across the UK, so we always look to redouble our efforts on how we communicate, two-way, how we listen as well, not just how we voice the things that we'd like people to hear, but how we listen what's happening, because as a UK team, our job is to support our membership, and really the leaders that work in Scout groups and work with young people each day and run sections, run troops, packs, squirrel, drays, colonies, are the people that make the magic happen.
Yeah,
so there is, and so communication is really important, but also the more volunteers across the UK that get involved in the work we do, the richer insight you have into what people really want on a day-by-day basis.
Well, we need more volunteers, don't we? And what would you advise we do to get more volunteers into Scouting?
So I think two things really. One, I think when you're running your section each week, if it's enjoyable, there will be parents that look at this and think it's great.
And I think
any section that doesn't have a parents' rota, doesn't try and get parents involved, I think we're missing a trick. Yeah. And because people want to enjoy it and want to get involved as well, and the way that we show that is vital. Secondly, we've got some great resources, and we've got the big help out coming up. All the effort we put behind that, it just shines a light on Scouts and Scouting and what we can do. So use some of the resources that are available as well.
Yeah, and you can volunteer on any level, can't you? But you're the Chief Volunteer, so can you compare what being the Chief Volunteer to the Chief Commissioner's like?
Well, the same.
The same.
I mean, it's the same role. I think that the good news about it for me, because we've changed role titles, and that creates a bit of noise in the movement. Yeah. But I have to say, I just think, for me personally, the word commissioner, I mean, it's of a different era.
Yeah, it doesn't sound.
I don't think it sounds appropriate, just how we carry authority. And I also think for a lot of people that aren't involved in Scouts, it looks slightly strange, and it sends strange messages. But I think that at the heart is, I'm a Scout, I'm proud to be a Scout, but I'm also a volunteer, and I think people understand that. So I think it's more accessible for people.
Yeah, and then moving on to the perception of Scouting, in what areas can we all contribute to improve the perception of Scouting?
So I think there's a couple of thoughts for me. One is, if we're involved in organising or leading a district, or leading a county, or leading a piece of work across a district or a county, I touched on just something early. There's a number of communities and a number of areas that don't see Scouts as for them. And I think we've got to think about how we can show off what Scouts is today. Not any perceptions that people might have for the past, but what is Scouts for today, and for people to see the relevance that has to today's young people, how much they enjoy and how much they get out of it. I think that's really important. I also think that in our existing groups, if people aren't getting involved in that, look at the community around you and make sure that people have that up-to-date view of what Scouts is, because not only will it provide a positive sentiment towards your group, but it will also, I think, provide more support. Resources, access to facilities, maybe funding, which helps sustain Scouts, and for certainly our section leaders, it makes life easier. So we've all got a responsibility to promote, the brand of Scouting, if you will.
That's perfect. And moving on to our trip, the reason we're here today is lots of our Scouts are heading to Malawi this summer with Project Africa. How vital are international trips for Scouts like us?
Well, so this is one of the things that really excites me. What do you? I mean, firstly, well done to everybody who's going, and also the leadership team that's putting this together. It's just brilliant and really exciting. One of the unique things about Scouts is there's 57 million of us across the world, and I think that binds us together. You know, the Scout Promise, the Scout Necker, and the work that you're going to do, going over to Malawi, you will meet some Scouts in Malawi and also make a positive difference. I think this is part of what we need to be as Scouts, but there's something more. We live on an island, we're slightly isolated, and there's a danger that we only look at ourselves. The more we can meet people in different countries, the more we can realise what we've got in common, the better. So people are really giving Scout service that they will enjoy, but you're going to make a really positive difference in people's lives. It's just fantastic.
It really opens your eyes, doesn't it? Have you ever done anything like this? I bet you have.
Yeah, so I think before I got involved in all this, I think international events, I mean, back in the day we had a section called Venture Scouts, Explorer Scouts Network. That was sort of my thing. So I've led Scouts to different countries around the world, community projects, Explorer Belts, jamborees, moots. I think moots are undervalued, so they are, and it's just, that's why it excites me, because I know what it did for me, I know what it did for young people that I led, and I think that there'll be young people on this trip that in the future you're going to be leading one of the Scout trips yourself. Yeah,
exactly. Well, getting into Scouting is a big thing, but how did you get into Scouting?
So my cousin was a Scout. I was never a Cub.
No.
And in those days we didn't have Beaver Scouts, but my cousin was a Scout, and my uncle said to me, do I want to go to Scouts on next Friday night with Ian? And that's how it started, and I've sort of stuck with it ever since, really, and loved it.
It just took off from there. Do you have any advice for the people going to Malawi this summer?
I do. Often when you go on one of these trips, there's so much to organise, there's so much to plan, there's so much to think about with funding, the equipment, whether you're organised to get everything done. If you're not careful, it can become a very mechanical experience. The logistics of the event take over. I would really ask and encourage people to make sure that you find time to meet as many people as you can and really experience the country and the culture in the country. Some of which things you may find difficult, some of which you may find motivating, but it will broaden your horizons, and I think just give you a richer experience. But you need to take time to savour that environment around you and look at it and experience it and connect.
Connect and teamwork.
And recognise a number of people there will be interested and curious about you. Yeah. And your smile and your friendly approach to them will make all the difference to them.
Thanks so much, Carl, for coming on.
You're welcome. Listen, have a great trip. Well done for everything you're doing today, and thanks for your time. I hope the rest of the day goes well. Let me know how you get on in the summer, won't you?
We will. Have a great day.
Take care. Bye-bye.